we're going to get a little crazy today. Welcome to the Gonzo Radio Sports Desk. Gonzo Radio Sports Desk number 31.
Boom.
All things 31. 31. How many is that again?
31.
31 episodes. And wow.
That's 6 more than 25.
And the top of my head is cut off, so we're going to have the Maz say hi to the nice people and stall for me while I back my camera angle out a little bit because it looks like I got a flat head. It's crazy.
Do you want me to say hello to the nice people right now?
Yeah, if you must.
Okay, hello, nice people.
Yes, because I'm trying to get the point on top of the back of my, at least the round part of the top of my head back into the camera frame.
It looks like we're always scrambling, and we are technically.
No, well, yeah, of course,
but scrambling in the best way possible.
Well, of course, because we've got to bring you the live news.
So it's a lot going on.
The livest, freshest stuff.
And we're handicapped. I'm minus a computer today. Major failure with the charging system I have at home, which is in the wall, in the computer. Total failure. Didn't charge. So, sorry.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, we'll get there. That's okay. I got phones. You got computers. We got brains. We'll get there.
Okay, so we've said hi to the nice people. I'm trying to find a way to lower my chair even because for some strange reason my camera is a little closer. I don't know. Did you bump the table or something?
I don't think I did.
Okay. Well, there's the. I'm going to slouch down. I'm going to do the whole show like this, like I'm a short person talking into a microphone. It's a little too high for him. So there's other stuff going on besides football in sports, and we're enjoying a pretty active postseason.
I love
as far as baseball is concerned.
Postseason.
Yeah.
I love watching playoff baseball. Is like I'm going to be careful here.
He's got to say something dirty.
Yeah, all right, let's backtrack. I love playoff baseball. I mean, it's like it just ratchets up the entire, I don't know, the excitement. It's like every pitch counts. I mean, situational play. You can almost hear the managers thinking. I mean, like it's fun. It's just really fun to get in front of the TV, especially with your wife. Hi, Diana, who's amazing, who just tries so hard to be a part. And I go through these giant explanations. I'm sweating. I'm explaining things left and right.
She's doing this.
And she's saying yes. And then I go over and I try to re-explain something else. And she asks me a question and it makes me wonder, why am I explaining things? But it's not her fault. It's just, my mind works differently, I think, than most when it comes to sports.
That's also why I can do a baseball and basketball analytics show. And I can come out of the intro and go, hi, everybody. Welcome to the Gonzo Radio Sports Desk. And now here's the Maz. Maz, tell us about baseball.
Yeah, it's true. And wait, basketball's coming 2 weeks. We got NBA season. So anyway, back to baseball real quick.
And here's my contribution to those conversations. I'll do this. I'll go, because you are a whiz when it comes to that stuff, dude. That's the reason why you're here.
Yeah.
That's the reason why nobody's allowed to talk to you. You're my sports boyfriend.
Game 2 tomorrow. Garrett Cole should be a good one. Man, that guy is unbelievable. 18-0 his last 25, 26 starts.
Need him to be too.
He's showing up tomorrow.
The Yankees lineup is friggin' scary.
It is. When you have Sanchez batting 7th in that lineup, a guy that was hitting a home run every, I think, 11 at bats this year.
Torres,
he was killing it. 4 RBIs yesterday in that game. They're deep. That lineup is tough.
Here's how bad it got for the Astros last night. The Yankees started playing small ball in the 7th inning and pushed a run over the plate.
Yeah.
Small ball.
Yeah.
Small ball. A single, a sac fly, a bloop single, and then another a fielder's choice. Plated their 7th run of the game.
Yeah, well, I mean,
that's just bananas.
Again, you just look at that lineup and you go 1 through 8, and I mean, even the 9-hitter, whoever that's going to be, they got lots of guys that, remember, they were hurt real bad first part of the year. And all these guys, Luke Voigt step up, and Gleyber Torres, they found out who he was.
Right, and here's the scary part, okay, is that they are, besides being a prolific power team. I mean, they broke the home run record, right?
The Twins got the home run record, but they were like second or third in baseball.
Okay, well, prolific power team. But if you put these guys on the base paths, they can run. They got speed on that team.
There's depth. I mean, there's a reason why these two teams are standing here.
Yeah,
and
it's a very entertaining ALCS. I'll say that. The NLCS, not so much.
Well, I think you get 2 scrappy teams. It's two different landscapes.
First of all, I don't like teams that wear red. Just red.
I'm not red. Going back to when La Russa was running that ship, I was never a Cardinals fan.
Phillies.
Yeah, that's okay. But listen, the National League and the American League are 2 different landscapes of baseball. I mean, you got prodigious just power in the American League. You got some decent pitching in the National League. Styles of play are different. Obviously, coaching is different. Everything is different. So that's what makes the World Series so special. So we'll get there. But no, enjoy the National League. But the American League, then that's going to be a hell of a series. Tomorrow, Garrett Cole's going to show them what's like to have a little good pitching. So we'll see how that works out.
Back to football.
Yeah, let's talk about football.
Back to football.
With a lot less predictability.
Oh,
my gosh.
Well, we can go back and we can go over what has happened,
Yes.
what has gone on, what is news, what is current news, which would be the results of Thursday night football, the Thursday night debacle that was the
no shocker.
Was the defending NFL Super Bowl champions who were dressed in the blue color fast uniforms that make them look like the secret police of a third world country. Mm-hmm. They do. They look like the secret police of a third world country. Yeah. You could put right, they totally look like the evil empire. They were totally dressed like stormtroopers, and they for the first half they got a lot of scrap out of the New York Giants.
Yes, they did.
That New York Giants young New York Giants defense showed that it's got some promise.
They were 14-13 at halftime. I think it was pretty close.
Yeah, oh yeah, and Danny Dimes was pushing them in there,
and they made a lot of mistakes. The Giants went in as a mash unit. I mean, Ingram, Shepard, who else was nobody? Wayne Gallman, their second running back
half
was
the
hurt.
Offense has a concussion.
Everybody was hurt. So Giants looked okay in that situation. But if anything, it's more I think of an indictment on the Patriots because here's who they've got in the first 5 games. Everybody's like Patriots again.
Nobody's.
Steelers, Dolphins, Jets, Redskins, Giants. Okay. Now, it's the NFL. Any team can show up week to week. I mean, there's going to be upsets all across the landscape. But if you look at that as a whole, the Patriots have played no one so far this year. Fortunate. I mean, you can't pick your schedule. It just is what it is. I mean, it's just you got to play the teams that are in front of you. But
what's funny is preseason, the only threat to that first 5 games of the season when you're going 5-0 or 6-0 or whatever, the only threats you could see were you didn't know how bad the Washington Redskins were going to be.
Yeah.
And
you had an idea because it's just they've never been good.
And the Miami Dolphins, because the Miami Dolphins always bite Tom Brady in the ass in Miami.
Yeah.
But, the Dolphins wheeled out the JV team, the mediocre XFL team that was week 2. And, yes, mediocre XFL. It was horrible. You should be ashamed of yourself. But, so, I mean, those were the only threats because you knew that the Giants were going to be below par. You knew they were going to be subpar.
Yeah.
You knew the Jets were going to eat shit. The Jets just didn't. I mean, they made a lot of splashy moves. And how'd that work out for the Dolphins under Adam Gase?
Well, I mean, but losing Darnold to high school sickness is not going to bode well for their team either. I mean, that was kind of unlucky. Something like that.
Not safe for work. Put your fingers in your ears, kids. Earmuffs.
But back to the Patriots real quick. Again, I don't want to be the guy that says I told you so when the eventual fall does come for Brady and the Patriots. Because again, father time, it's going to happen.
Well, I mean, when he's 57.
But everybody's been saying for the last 5 years it's going to happen, and it hasn't happened so far. So let's not predict when it's going to happen. Let's just take a look at where they are right now. Okay,
he's a robot.
I do know that in his last 2 games, he's thrown red zone picks. In each of the last 2 games, which is something he hasn't done in the last 6 or 7 years.
Right,
I went back that far.
He missed a Microsoft update. What do you want?
Well, again, I think you can see that there's been a little bit of slowdown earlier in the season, perhaps, than maybe even the last previous seasons when everybody's been waiting for the shoe to drop. Again, the Patriots are undefeated. They look really good on defense, too. They're running the ball well. They're healthy. But I'm not ready yet to put all my chips in the Patriots basket. Now, the road looks good. You know what's going to happen. They'll get to the end of the year. They'll lose a couple. They'll get the first round bye. They may even get a home field through the entire playoffs, and it's going to have to be the road going back through New England again. And that's never an easy road in December. Or in January. It's sickening
boring.
how it sets up for them the same way over and over again. But I will say this. They don't look unpenetrable. Okay, if that's even a word, I think it is. Unpenetrable?
Unpenetrable. You can't impenetrate.
Can you impenetrate?
Invincible, I think, is what you're looking for.
I think I bit off a little more like a chew.
We
6 years of college right here. I'm just saying. It's just
we
went really
here at the Gonzo Radio, podcast about Gonzo Radio Sports Desk and the Gonzo Radio Network. We in no way, shape, or form want to penetrate Tom Brady in any way, shape, or form, whether it be or a little bit of this or a little bit of one of those.
As much as he may like it.
No penetration. Really, we have no desire to penetrate you, Tom, at all.
Awkward, but well, yeah, I totally agree with that, 100%.
I'm pushing the comedy. I'm pushing the comedy today. I really am.
I'm curious to see how the Patriots respond moving forward. If they can still win games with him and his kind of subpar performances, if they're going to rest on the defense, they may be able to. I mean, again, they still have the second half of that division to play. So, again, record-wise, they're in a great spot, and it looks like it's going to kind of paint out the same way for them. It's going to be a kind of a smooth road, and as long as they're healthy, it's going to be going through Foxborough again. Week 6, you can say that.
You know what it is? It's middle-aged dudes with hot Brazilian wives. That's what it is. He was smart. He knew that Brazilian women are like a fountain of youth. Sometimes I've dated a couple of Brazilian girls, just dated, nothing too serious, and they literally will force you to feel younger. They will force you to do stupid shit that you would, and not like a regular woman that will force you to do stupid shit, but they will force you to do stupid shit that you're like, oh my God, I'm 42, I can't do this. Well, now you look. What do we have? We have Tom Brady, who has arguably one of the hottest women in the world. Forget the hot, and she happens to be a 6-foot-tall Brazilian woman. And was it like 5-6 years ago? She had him jumping off of cliffs and shit.
They're doing some stuff.
So she got that Brazilian mojo going for him. I'm telling you right now, he's going to play till he's fucking 50. I hate him, but he's going to play till he's 50.
We'll see. He's been pretty healthy. He's been pretty fortunate. I mean, their style of play is just kind of, he doesn't get hit. So maybe if he stays upright, I guess, unless something goes wrong, the knee pops or something like that.
Well, football's ruined.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay, well, moving on from Brady.
We got a game right now going on.
We got a game going right now
Quick
in
update,
London.
I thought it was 17
at halftime.
Yeah, 17-7 was what I saw, I think, at halftime.
Yes, I started Jameis Winston, and of course, as is his habit when I do start him in fantasy football, he shits the bed.
11 of 18, 144 yards and a pick so far for Jameis.
Oh, it's only one pick? Yeah, but he's also got a fumble.
That didn't pull up.
He's got to have
I'm sorry, two picks. Two picks.
So, yeah, he's got to have like 6 points. Even though he's got 144 yards.
He could be minus.
Is he in the negatives?
I'm not sure. I'm not looking at I'm just looking at
look.
They're throwing the ticker. Mike Evans is 6 for 66.
Throw up the ticker.
My boy McCaffrey has
I'm
got
give you the screen for
2 touchdowns, 9 for 33. Mike Evans is 6 for 65. Got all these guys on my fantasy team. Just want to throw it out there.
Humble brag.
Yes. Anyway, quick shout outs since we got a little shout out time. Shout out to my friends that are all watching the show. Thanks for tuning in.
You don't have any friends.
Well, the ones that I don't pay, I guess you can still call them friends. But thank you all my friends for watching the show. Quick shout out, John, Mary, and Aldo, and am I missing anybody? Hopefully some other people that are listening too. Thank you.
Aldo from our league. Aldo?
We got a little gathering at the Mazaracchio house today on Sunday.
Aldo, you douchebag. I offered you a trade, and you totally ghosted me.
I will let him know.
I pulled it back.
I will let him know, yeah.
I pulled it back.
Yeah.
No, I pulled it back. No, I don't want to. I don't want to trade Kenny Galladay and Carlos Hyde for Mike Evans anymore. No, you can keep Mike Evans. You can
Mike Evans 6 for 65 right now.
I'm changing my camera. Keep Mike Evans. He's got a really strong team though. He's got a whole lot of good wide receivers. That's why I went to him, because I'm like, even if he got rid of Mike Evans and he had Kenny Galladay to slot on his bench, he would still have a bunch of really good
I will say this about Aldo's 5-0 team, and this is not a shot, because you can't, again, like we talked about the Patriots, you can't determine who you play. But I will say this about Aldo's team and about the points scored and stuff like that. I mean, not to toot my own horn, of course, but I kind of like to assess a team's value based upon points scored. Like I said, you can't pick your schedule, so there's situations and times where you're going to go up against the guy that's going to score the most amount of points in your league, and you're going to score the second most amount of points and lose, because that's what head-to-head is.
You're a horn tutor from way back.
But he is, I think, 5-0 this year. He hasn't lost, but his points for and points against are not favorable. So he hasn't scored a lot, hasn't given up a lot, fortunately, and I think that's part of the reason why he's in that position. Now, he's got a good team, but I'm just saying, Aldo, I'm coming for you, buddy. I'm coming for you.
Wait, didn't we see somebody mope their way to the championship last year? I know
Aldo won 2 years ago, I believe.
No, but this is last year. Last year
was Rhino Brothers, who stepped in Mahomes.
It was year before. Somebody moped their way to the championship because they kept playing. They kept hitting teams that had bad days. They kept hitting strong teams that had players that just bageled.
It happens.
It happens. But this guy kept hitting teams like everybody he played. It was like he was the mush.
Yeah.
He was the mush, and he mushed his way to the championship. Which it happens. It's fantasy football. So I mean, we're being very philosophical today.
Yes, that's okay though.
Keep philosophizing. I'm trying to screenshot our DFSs and stuff.
Yeah, which we're going to do well on today. But you know what? There's another big game that I think we should talk about. Obviously, in terms of at least maybe the faces of the quarterbacks of the NFL potentially moving forward.
Which is?
Houston and Kansas City today. That's a good one.
It's going to be a big shootout.
That's a good one today.
Big shootout. Pew,
Yeah.
pew, pew.
Obviously Mahomes, Kansas City, the spread offense. I mean, they're putting up gaudy numbers, but I'm going to throw some numbers at you right now that I pulled up today for Deshaun Watson. Now, Deshaun Watson, I don't know if you can say similar style quarterback to some degree, a little bit of mobile quarterback, can certainly run Kentucky, can throw it a mile, very athletic. But here's the numbers right now for Watson and for Mahomes, respectively. Passer rating, obviously everybody gauges them by that. Mahomes 114.7, okay?
Right.
Watson.
Hey, that's huge, though.
Oh, big number, huge. Watson 115.9. Okay, slightly
Also
better.
huge.
Well, slightly better. Now, passing yards, Kansas City's throwing it all over the field. 1,800 yards so far. Watson's at 1,364. Each of them at 11 touchdowns. Watson's got 1 pick so far. Mahomes' slate's clean, no picks. But I will say this. This is something that's very important, style of play, and also game script. You look at a lot of the Chiefs games, they seem to be in control of those games. Good defense, throw the ball around the field, good in the red zone to put up lots of points. He's only been sacked 7 times on the year so far, Patrick Mahomes. Okay, not a lot, so pretty protected, okay?
Protected.
On the other side, Deshaun Watson. Damn it, get this offensive line fixed. This kid's running for his life, playing a tougher schedule.
The Dolphins gave him their best offensive line and like 2 of their best players.
He's been sacked 18 times so far this year through the first 5 games. Okay.
What does that tell ya?
Last year he was second in the league in sacks. I think sacked 46 or 47 times last year. It's like Brett Favre all over. You got to protect this kid. This kid's so good and so talented, and he's doing it with, in my opinion, outside of Hopkins. I mean, they haven't run the ball well either. So you're asking this kid to do a lot. At least put him in a position where he's upright and he can throw the ball down the field because he's not going to last.
Die.
Yeah. Today you're going to get a shootout in that game, in my opinion. I think both those quarterbacks are going to come to play. I think you're going to see tons of points in that game. So if you're home for that game, tune that one in because that's going to be it's going to be a lot of points, lots of fun.
On the same level as the Chiefs and Rams last year? In the 50s?
Vegas doesn't think so. That total last year was close to 58. I think it went as high as maybe even 60. I think that was one total last year they got in the 60s. I haven't seen the Vegas total for this one. I think it's like 56 or 55 and a half, I think was the last I saw. Yeah, I mean, if you're betting the game, certainly I'm leaning points and over for sure because that game, I don't know, both quarterbacks I think got something to prove today. We'll see.
Well, you're giving a little extra on this, so it's the 50. If it's over 50 points, take the over.
It's higher than 50. I'll check right now. I haven't really looked at that.
Okay, you check on that.
Yeah.
And while you check on that, I'll broach the subject of the Dolphins because we also briefly spoke about the Dolphins and the Washington football team.
54 and a half.
Because I'm not using that racist name, Daniel Snyder. The Washington football team, who both happen to be 1's 0-4 and 1's 0-5.
Yeah, they're 0 a lot.
Yeah. This is actually one time where the Dolphins aren't the worst team in the stadium. And it pains me to speak so pessimistically and so negatively about them, but get your shit together. So they're calling it the Toilet Bowl, the O Bowl,
the First Pick Bowl,
the Tank Bowl.
Yeah, this could be the battle for the First Pick Bowl.
Once again, let me reiterate. Gonzo, a guy who does not give a shit about tanking for Tua. Tua is not the answer. Tua is not the quarterback. Okay? No. All right?
Tell me how you feel about Tua.
I feel very strongly about this.
Okay.
But
why, though?
It doesn't matter if they win or lose today.
What's your objection with Tua? Okay. Obviously, they got rid of a quarterback who was pretty good, and they must have seen something to send that kid to Oklahoma. And then now they've got this guy who was huge last year in that big spot game. Was against Auburn, I think it was, or whatever it was. And I see you're making faces, so I'll let you go.
I am not making. I am condescendingly sipping my coffee and listening to you politely.
Okay. So again, I mean, I don't perhaps follow him as closely as you. You have a staked interest, being a Dolphin fan like you are.
No. I don't follow him very closely. I will say this, okay? Me, middle-aged dudes, anybody who can play any sort of quarterback will excel behind an offensive line that has no less than 2 All-Americans. An offense stacked with so many weapons that you have kids transferring out to go to other schools.
Right.
Okay, including 3 wide receivers that are expected to be first-round draft choices, including Jerry Jeudy, who's expected to be a top 5 pick. Jerry Jeudy, who is expected to be a once-in-a-generation wide receiver. Okay? When you are on a team with that much excellence in quality of players, excellence in systemic execution, when you have a player that is the centerpiece of that, you are positioned to excel gloriously. Okay? But once you come into a situation like you're going to come into with the Miami Dolphins, okay, which we all know about, they're 15, 17, 18 players short of being an average football team. Okay, we don't know how good their coaching staff is going to be.
Well, let me ask you,
there's a whole lot of hang on one second. If I was Tua, I would not want them tanking for me. If I was Tua, I would not want Washington tanking for me. I wouldn't want to play for either one of those football teams.
All right, 2 things, though. I think that the tanking is an overstatement. I don't think if you really got inside every player on each team in the locker room that they get to the park that day in the morning.
Nobody wants to tank. It's a fucking insult.
It's of course, these guys have egos and pride and everything else, and they're playing hard, and some of them are playing for jobs, and some of them are playing for other things and stuff like that, other incentives.
You don't want to put crap on tape.
Yeah. So my point is that I think that whole tanking thing is something that when you look back, it's a hindsight thing. You look back and go, okay, wow, this team was really bad. And now visually they didn't look good, so therefore they're tanking. Maybe they just suck. All right, these teams today kind of suck, and they've sucked for a while. And there's different reasons why. Now, does everybody on the team suck? No. Can you look at the Dolphins maybe, and even the Redskins maybe with a coaching change, and then over the next few weeks try and gauge progress because there'll be some? Sure. But this whole tanking thing, it's a term I don't like to use because, again, I think if you were to somehow quantify a player's perspective on themselves, on the day, on their team, on their teammates, none of them, very few of them, are going to be given less than 100% effort. There are some, but that's every profession, every walk of life. You got guys that just loaf. That's who they are. But for the most part, these guys are in the NFL because they've earned the right to be there. I don't think they're taking days off or games off in the season just because
Definitely
they
not.
think they're going to get a guy who they don't even know anything about 6 months from now.
Definitely not.
Okay,
Definitely not.
But
They're not taking the day off. They're not.
But
It's okay. I have the screen,
Yeah,
so
that's good.
you can adjust your chair all you want.
I will say this.
What?
You can't fault a guy like Tua or anybody else just because of the talent that he has around him. I mean, you can't say that, wow, this guy gets a knock down because he's so good.
He gets called once-in-a-generation quarterback. How many once-in-a-generation Alabama quarterbacks have there been?
There's been a few.
One.
Well, no. They've called out a few, and that's across the landscape of football.
Joe Willie Namath.
All right, but listen, you have to get past all the superlatives.
Joseph William Namath.
Listen, that's TV and it's ratings, and
One.
that's what they do.
Kenny Stabler, you had no idea he was going to be the lunatic he was, but you knew that Joe Willie Namath was going to be that guy.
People get lost in titles and in
A.J.
other
McCarron,
things.
come on.
It's let the cards fall. The kid's good. He'll get better. The team is good.
Here's where the friggin' cards are going to fall, okay? Let's say the Dolphins screw around and win 3 games because they got to play the Jets twice. They got to play the Bengals. They got to play these schmoes today. Okay? Let's say they screw around and win 3 out of those 4 and they end up picking second or third. Who cares? Don't take a quarterback. No. Don't take a quarterback. Let's remember, they have 3 first-round draft choices this year, 2 next year. They have 2 second-round draft choices this year, 2 next year. Okay? You take your first out of those 5 picks. The first 4 are going to be 2 offensive linemen, Two of the best. I don't care what he is. Tackle, guard, whatever. Two of the best.
I see where you're going, and I agree.
The first two. Solve that fucking offensive line. I'm dropping F-bombs. I'm so pissed off about it because it's been going on for 15 years now. Okay? 2. Okay? Guard, tackle. Plug them in, right side. Game over right there. That's over with. Now you got to do is work on the left side. Then, at the end of the first round, impact defensive end or linebacker. Edge, the EDGE, the edge guy. Get an edge guy. Beginning of the second round, another defensive player. Doesn't matter what. Linebacker, defensive end.
Best player available.
Best defensive player available, period.
Yes, agree.
Then, with that sneaky pick in the middle to the end of the second round
you
you get your quarterback. And I can guarantee you, because there are only 5 teams, including the Miami Dolphins, that are reaching for quarterbacks in next year's draft, and it's because so quarterback rich. That's teams with old quarterbacks that they know on the way out. That's teams with quarterback situations where they need a new quarterback, and there's not a lot of them. There's really not. The Cincinnati Bengals, I know exactly who the Cincinnati Bengals are going to pick because they're probably going to be the 4th or 5th pick in the draft. If not the 2nd or 3rd, they're going to be up there. It's going to go Miami, Washington, Cincinnati, New York. Miami, Washington, Cincinnati, New York.
I agree with what you're saying about building the foundation of your team in the earlier rounds. It makes perfect sense because without those guys, the skill position players don't show anyway because they're on their ass or they're just in bad situations.
There's going to be 8 to 9 quarterbacks that are graded out at 1st to 2nd round.
Yeah.
8 to 9.
There's a lot.
5 teams, including the Miami Dolphins, that will be looking for a quarterback.
Yeah.
And that's including the Steelers, the Bengals.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, we're talking about teams that, even the Vikings, because the last year of Kirk Cousins' contract, and I know they're not happy with him.
Yeah, well, the confidence of the quarterbacks, at least, what you're seeing, I think, in the last few years especially, is you're not seeing when starting quarterbacks go down and the backups come in, you're like, who's this guy? And this guy can play.
Mason Rudolph can play.
Lots of examples. Minshew, Allen.
Fear the mustache.
A lot of guys that are NFL ready that you've never heard of, but that lends to your point about how you can go into the draft in the late second rounds or early third rounds, get guys, sit them for a year, also continue to develop them, and when they're ready to play, they're ready to play. These backup quarterbacks are good. You see it across the NFL landscape. You got 5 or 6 teams with quarterbacks that are playing right now that weren't on the starting rosters at the beginning of the year. They were on the teams, but they weren't figured in the offense.
It's no longer just old guys playing out the string.
No, and you can clearly see that these teams are better for it. Now they've got questions at quarterback positions when their other guys come back. Carolina, prime example. They haven't lost with this kid yet, and they weren't winning with the other guy. So
do they go back to Cam when Cam's healthy?
Rivera is probably loyal to the sense where Cam's his guy. They've been together for so long. It's going to be hard for him not to. But I'll tell you what, if he slips up, I think the leash is going to be a little bit shorter this time. You can't – I'm on the train that says if you got a guy you've ridden with, okay, if he's been in the caboose the whole time and it's been pretty successful, if a guy gets hurt, that's not the reason why he sits, regardless of what it looks like.
0-9 for his last 9 starts.
I know that. But it's still, I don't know.
It's time to cut bait on him.
Listen,
I'm
not saying
now.
Re-sign the guy because his contract's up next year.
How about this one? 6 teams looking for a new young quarterback to draft a quarterback in the first 2 rounds.
If they're honest with Cam Newton,
Allen.
they sit him down prior to the week he's healthy to come back and say, look at where we are now.
You're still hurt.
Look at where we've been, and this is a true assessment of who you are right now.
How's your neck?
You're going back in, but this is where we are right now as a team. We know we have somebody right now that can play.
Short leash.
And as pretty as he looks in his press conferences, it hasn't looked like that on the field.
Pretty as he looks. He dresses like... Okay. He dresses like a colorblind old lady.
Why are you picking on colorblind people for?
I mean, literally colorblind little old lady.
Did you know I'm partially colorblind?
Down to the scarf around the head. I mean, the abuelita, he dresses like a colorblind abuelita.
The people that are close to me know that I'm partially colorblind because they can tell how I leave the house dressed. Nothing ever matches. But
yeah,
anyway.
he sometimes he looks like he got dressed in the dark.
Yeah.
He looked like sometimes he didn't turn the bedroom light. Yeah, I like to play this game. I'm not going to turn the bedroom light on. I'm going to feel my way around. I'm going to walk into my walk-in closet, which is probably the size of my bedroom. He's going to walk into his walk-in closet, and he's just going to grab things. I'm going to grab a jacket over here and a shirt over here and some pants over here, and hopefully I get the right combination and a scarf and a hat.
You know what? I am not
Ridiculous.
the guy to tell anybody that they can't act different, look different, be different. That's what we preach to our kids and everybody else. And
he's got a crazy girlfriend who's trying to talking him into doing that. So it's got to be.
But here's what I will say is that you don't bring additional attention to yourself when you're not the only one that is responsible for what's going on around them in the organization. And the Panthers have really been struggling with him as quarterback, and his performance has been really bad lately. But yet it's still me. And I don't understand that whole persona and that desire to still want to have every single light in your face when you're not that good and haven't been that good for so long.
You know who's a fashion plate? Travis Kelce.
Okay.
He's a fashion plate. He goes to Fashion Week. He goes to Milan. Okay, but you don't see him on TV with a scarf and a hat. You don't see him with old lady mod glasses from the 1960s. You don't see him dressed like it. What was that? What was that meme that I sent you where he had a blue shark skin suit?
Yeah,
and they were trying to make him a new Batman. I'm not gonna repeat what the meme said, but he was a new new villain from Batman.
Yeah.
So,
Gotham City, look out!
Gotham City, look out! So you're right about that. You're trying to draw attention to yourself. The only problem is that you're drawing attention to somebody who's for his last 9 starts.
When you're the face of a franchise and you have the keys to the $4 or $5 billion enterprise that the Panthers are, every NFL team is $1 billion enterprise now.
Easily.
You cannot do the sorts of things that he's doing and get that sort of attention to you. I'm sorry, it's just something that you can't do.
It's self-expression.
Yeah, I don't think that's a good idea. If you're a hermit in the woods and you're on your own and that's fine, you're responsible to no one, then fine. Be a hermit, dress however you want, act however you want. But when you're the face of a franchise and you're responsible for a product that is viewed and supported somewhat by a lot, and you're not performing and you're not holding up your end of the deal, then I think it's jeans and T-shirts should be where your focus should be.
Right. Well, you know, he won an awful lot of games when he stepped up to the podium and he was wearing a Panthers T-shirt and shorts. Or, blue jeans.
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. How he dresses doesn't affect how he plays on the field. I'm not saying that. But what it does show is again, personality-wise, that I guess that he can compartmentalize failure and the rest of his life and not have accountability for what's going on over here.
Right.
And that's not the way it should be when you're an NFL quarterback.
Well, that's the funniest thing is the collective bargaining agreement that they worked out back, I believe it was 2014 or 2013 that they worked it out.
Yeah.
Okay. And a lot of the stuff that they did there was for players' self-expression. It was they lobbied to be able to wear different colored shoes or their own brand of shoes because they wanted to brand the players more, kind of like how
the NFL said no.
And the NFL said
Good.
no.
And they should say no.
Right.
Yeah.
But they caved. The last couple of years, they've caved. And they've let players wear shoes that are symbolic of something. And it just so happens to be their brand of shoe.
Yeah,
they let players wear crazy stuff they let players wear whatever crazy crap they want to wear you want to make me come to a press conference? You want me to stand up here in front of the podium? Then I'm going to stand up here in an electric blue jacket with a pink scarf around my head and a blue hat on top of that.
On game day, it's NFL rules, that's it. I mean, everything has to be approved by the NFL.
Right.
Down to the wristbands.
Right.
I mean, jewelry, it doesn't matter. That's just how it goes.
$300,000 watches.
Yeah, and that's how it should be. I mean, the NFL has an image, and they have a responsibility to the people who ultimately help support the NFL financially. And whatever.
The new CBA is going to come down to this, okay? The NFL is going to want another playoff round, another regular season game, two preseason games, because everybody gets to go and have inter-squad scrimmages with other teams. Okay, so that's going to be enough preparation, and a lot fewer guys are going to get hurt. They're going to raise the salary cap. They're going to give the players a bigger cut of the pie. But in order for the players to get a bigger piece of the pie, they're going to have to start giving up some of these individuality or these expression issues that they have where they want to express themselves. It's time for the players. You're going to get more money, but now you're going to have to toe a line.
Yeah, well, one of the things you said about the injuries, you said they get hurt less. Studies have shown that the players are getting hurt more now. There's less contact in practice. There's less one-on-one drills in practice.
I'm talking about fewer preseason games.
Oh, okay.
You'll have fewer guys getting hurt.
But the guys aren't even playing in preseason anyway.
Right.
So
some of them aren't, yeah.
My point is that I'm telling you, studies have been showing now that since there's less to do at practice, less 2-a-days and 3-a-days, all these old school philosophies.
They have to have mandatory plays in the
first time
games.
These guys are getting hit are in the first game of the season. So, and there's something to be said about getting your bodies ready, I guess. I've never played in the NFL, but everything you say, true. It's part of it. It's part of it is to be game ready. There's value in that.
Listen, when I was a pro wrestler, okay, when I was actively wrestling like every weekend, I would have at least 1 or 2 bookings for, I don't know, a year or so until I was like, ow, this hurts and I'm not getting paid enough to do this. And then I went to once a month. But one thing that you had to do because your body needed to be conditioned to that impact for taking a fall, that impact for hitting the ropes, that impact for hitting the corner. Your body has to be conditioned for that.
Going through the motions.
That's why I tell people, I said pro wrestlers and practitioners of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu are some of the toughest human beings in the world because a lot of the things that they do and the back slap mats and everything like is all about conditioning that body for that impact. And so, yes, I totally believe that players should take more contact. They should be better conditioned going into that first game of the season.
I agree.
They really do. No. So I think that there should be a mandatory playing time that unless you are designated as an injury risk or you are designated as injured, you should play in those 2 preseason games. There's no dress rehearsal. Both games are a fucking dress rehearsal. The first game is the starters go out and they play one series. Okay, they get their thing together. The second game, it's you play 3 quarters.
Yeah, it's going to be a hard sell to the players unless the players really feel like they're getting plus. Certainly, money has to be the main driving force.
This will say everything.
Yeah, for sure.
This will say everything.
Yeah, but the smart players are going to want that on the back end too, because
they'll get it.
Yeah,
they'll get it.
That's where they're going to want it.
They're going to get better pensions.
Yeah.
They're going to get better coverage for medical coverage for former players, 3 years of service time or better.
And family.
Oh no, that's all on the table.
It has to be.
Okay, but it's all about this. I mean, they can whine and bitch and harumph and I can relate.
Yeah.
Okay, they want you to play an extra game. Well, guess what? They're going to give you 6 extra guys. You know, instead of a 53-man roster, you're going to have a 59-man roster.
You know what, though? But the issue is going to be, too, is that these players getting fans in the stadiums. I mean, right now, attendance is down across the NFL. So now you're going to be adding more games and asking the fans to pay more money for a longer season. Are they going to raise season ticket rates now?
Spencer Strassmore is going to take care of the players. Ballers.
What about the fans?
You don't watch Ballers,
I don't watch Ballers, no.
What is wrong with you?
I know it's a good show.
You have to watch that show.
But
it's
again,
coming to an end. The final season is tonight.
Without the fans
episode,
there's no NFL unless they're planning on just making everything off of TV rights.
And that's why you need to watch Ballers, because Ballers is so on this subject. It's not even funny.
I bet, yeah.
You know, the fictitious owner of the Kansas City Chiefs is turning on the rest of the owners of the league and demanding all of these things. And that's coming up in the CBA. They're going to get it.
They have to.
Because it's all about the money.
Yeah, they have to.
They do. All right, well, you know what we're going to do? We're going to take a quick break because we're going over the injury reports because it should be streaming over right now.
Carl is in the Bahamas checking in with us right
now.
He's wasting too much time. So, hey, Carl, what's up, buddy?
Hopefully not on Freeport Island, man, because they got blown flat.
He's wasting too much money. He's on a cruise to the Bahamas.
Oh, he's on a cruise? Oh,
yes.
Okay. Well, yeah, couldn't blow a cruise ship flat. All right, well, then check out this break real quick, and we'll be back in about 2 minutes or so with your NFL, or actually your fantasy relevant.
And props.
Yeah, but injuries first.
Oh, yeah, we got that.
It's all about the injury. Everybody's hurt. Don't bother to play. It's over. Football's ruined. It's over. Welcome back to the Console Radio Sports Desk. Relevant fantasy injuries. I am selfishly going to start off right off the bat because I am deeply concerned about David Johnson. So please tell me David Johnson's bacchiotomy is feeling well.
No. Game time decision.
Yeah, game time decision. But Adam Schefter has assured us he is expected to play. Usually when Adam Schefter says something, it works. It works.
I'll take that.
So yeah. I'm going to take Adam Schefter's word.
A guy that sits in front of a computer with four cell phones going at one time.
Right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure going to listen to him.
Right, exactly. He's got 4 cell phones going at one time, and he has managed to parse out the various people that he has on the ends of these cell phones so he knows who's calling, when, and what for. Yeah. So he's one of my heroes, and eventually we'll get you to that status where we have you with 4 cell phones. What are you eyeballing on yours?
Injuries. Gurley's out. We know
Gurley's
Mason
out.
Rudolph is out today. We know
his head still hurts.
Sam Darnold will start. Case Keenum will start. If you're interested in that, we know Cam didn't go already. David Johnson, again, you said he's going to play.
Bacchiotomy.
Even though Penny may be active today, Carson's going to get most of the reps there.
I guess a very tough Cleveland defense, by the way.
They're
a lot tougher than they look.
Yeah, Jalen Samuels is out still with a knee. Trying to think who else. That's pretty much the receivers. Devontae Adams still out. Tyreek Hill, that's the big one.
That's the big one.
He's questionable. He practiced on Friday, limited, they said, but they're not sure. They may hold him out. Sammy Watkins, he's doubtful. So Sammy Watkins probably not going to play. Tyreek Hill, a chance to play.
I have everybody named Williams on the Chiefs offense, so I that's fine.
That's a lot of the injuries. Looks like pretty much that's it. George Kittle is questionable, but I had heard yesterday he's expected to play. So no update on that right now. He's a big part of their offense. If he's
what did he suplex a pickup truck or something?
Yeah, right. And Mark Andrews, that's a big one for me. I've got him in my league. He's expected to play. He practiced Friday. So Baltimore, it looks like they're at full strength. I think that's pretty much it for the key position players. And I stress this, guys, too. If you've got skill position players on teams and you're questioning your DFS lineups and you're on the fence on certain players, look a little further at the injury reports. Look at the offensive linemen. Look and see if they're healthy.
Lines.
Look and see how game script's going to play out. If you have a positive game script in your favor and you're looking towards a skill position player, take them. Check those boxes. We preach it all the time.
And listen, if your RB1 has one offensive lineman out, no matter what the quality, one offensive lineman out, survivable. Keep them. Stay in. Stay on top of them, even with a bad matchup. But if he's missing 2, and he's got a third offensive lineman that's questionable, that's a banged-up offensive line.
There's issues there.
You got problems there. You might want to consider finding someone else.
Yeah, name drops. Pro Football Focus, they re-rate all these offensive lines, defensive lines. They rate everything every week. So go onto their site, many other sites, and just take a look. Do your homework. Look and see what offensive lines.
Or go to the Gonzo Radio Sports Desk because we do drop info like that every once in a while.
And watch us.
You got to pitch our stuff,
Yeah,
dude.
well, I mean, pitch it out because we use these sources to help our show better.
Well,
so
don't tell them.
I want to give them credit.
I'll
give them credit.
Well, fine then. Pro Football Focus.
Yeah, give everybody credit. We share. We're all about sharing. So that's big today. Injuries, we'll see. Week 6, everybody's hurt right now, pretty much, right, in the NFL.
I'm questionable, but then again, I'm always questionable.
No, I always question you. I don't know about being questionable.
Oh, no, I'm highly questionable.
Yeah.
Not the show, but just in general.
You want to go DFS?
If we must. We got a lineup in. We do. We have a lineup in. Would you like to see it? Would you like the people to see it? I think that's the question.
Yeah, I'm going to.
Starting off with Mr. Lamar Jackson. These aren't just the earlies. This is the 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock.
Yeah, these are the whole slate today. DFS.
Right.
I'm kind of thinking Baltimore gets back on track today. Although I think that game somewhat stays competitive. I'm hoping so.
Right.
Because if Baltimore crushes them, then I may not get a lot out of Lamar in the second half. But I just again, divisional game. Those teams usually play each other pretty tight to the vest. Although I do hopefully see some points in that game. So we got Lamar.
You went Byron Pringle.
Want some value today on that team. Yeah, for sure. He actually, in snap share last week, out-snapped Hardman, who a couple of weeks ago was the popular waiver wire pickup after 4 and 106 and 2 touchdowns. I think he had a 60%, 40% snap share to Hardman. So Pringle's cheaper. He's like about $1,500 cheaper than Hardman. So to me, that was no brainer.
You do understand his name is like a is like a WWF 1970s manager or something.
I remember that guy, actually.
Yes, on his way to the ring, being represented by Mr. Byron Pringle.
Yes. Yeah.
The Undertaker.
Side note, by the way, he has heir to the Pringle throne, by the way. He's the
Get out of here.
fourth generation Pringle. Yes.
Not Percival Pringle?
Fourth generation Pringle.
That's I just remember that was Percival Pringle, who, by the way, was Paul Bearer, the manager, for the early manager for The Undertaker.
Another wrestler.
God rest his soul.
Yeah.
God, wow. I have way too much in my brain. Okay, so.
His by the way, quick note about Pringle, fourth generation Pringle. His nickname in the locker room is Ranch. I'm not sure why. I don't know how it applies, but that's what I read.
All I know is there better be some barbecue Pringles in my freaking locker tomorrow, rookie.
So we got Pringles. So let's go through the rest of the lineup. We're back on Kelsey today.
Next potato chip.
Again, with all those injuries, not hopefully guys are hurt.
Well, wait, you haven't gone over the running backs, though. Joe Mixon and Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah. Oh, I love Le'Veon Bell today.
But Mixon against Baltimore, really?
Baltimore's defense hasn't been that good.
Yeah, they're ranked 25th. It says right there, the little green number.
They haven't been that good. So, and again, divisional game. I'm hoping that game shoots out a little bit, stays close. If it does, and there's some positive game script for both teams, and it's close, then
and you're liking Le'Veon to
love Le'Veon Bell today.
Really,
this is his coming out today on the record
against Dallas.
Le'Veon Bell today goes ballistic today. 2 touchdowns.
Okay, you're a crazy man. Larry Fitzgerald.
Yes, slot receiver.
Yes,
in a good spot today.
I agree very, very much because Atlanta's slot corners are horrible. Their safeties are terrible.
Yes, so that's a team also that could get a little high in the points today as well. We'll shoot out.
How do you get to be 32nd ranked against slot receivers? Okay, and your third receiver would be Mr. Michael Gallup.
Yes,
you like him against a weak Jets defensive secondary.
Very weak, Jeff, and he's been getting, I think, on average about 9 targets a week over the last 3 weeks, Mr. Gallup.
Right,
so,
and you've been salivating over touting Kelsey again.
We chased him 2 weeks out of the last 3, and he's somewhat underperformed. He's going to have one of those big 2-touchdown games, and in this Vegas
we'll
total,
get him up close here. Travis Kelsey. Now he's up against Houston, and they're 4th ranked against tight ends.
That's okay,
and you're still very confident about that.
Only because of target share. He's matchup proof. He's Travis Kelsey,
right?
And the injuries on the offensive side.
Yeah,
and they're going to have to throw the football today. So
yeah, that's true.
I mean, these guys get theirs. Kelsey gets his today. I'm hoping.
Right.
So we'll see.
And then Adam Thielen is your flex.
Again, a guy in a team that last week they found to be able to throw the football a little bit in Minnesota. Maybe they do the same today. Positive matchup plus matchup.
Yeah.
He should get his. So,
Yep.
Yeah, I like it.
And then finally, the Jaguars defense.
Going on a limb on this one, really cheap. They were like the 3rd or 4th cheapest defense. They're not the same defense as they were over the last few years. Everybody's touting Jacksonville's defense, but Bridgewater, I think, is playing a little over his head the last few weeks. And the Saints are not the same team on the road. Tough travel game, tough spot. I think Jacksonville keeps that game close, low scoring.
To drag them down to reality.
Go Jacksonville today.
Okay, well, now I went a little crazy this morning, got hopped up on caffeine, and I put in my Gardner Minshew. By the way, my Gardner Minshew lineup made us $2 last week.
It's not bad.
$2 whole.
Not bad. I like Gardner Minshew.
So the stash in at quarterback, great value, $5,000.
Cheap, yeah.
$5,000 against that New Orleans at home against that New Orleans defense.
Yeah, real cheap.
I picked my opportunity to pick on the Miami Dolphins defense, who can't stop a Pop Warner team from running the football. And we bring in one of the goats at running back, Mr. Adrian Peterson, who's playing out the string, making the young guys look stupid. $4,500, great value.
Yeah, really cheap.
And an opponent rank versus position is 32nd, so you're the worst rush defense. You got to get one of those guys. Heavy usage rate today too. I think you're going to run him silly. Malcolm Brown, the step up next man up in L.A., who is a banger, a bruiser, a guy who likes to run between the tackles, and they like to run between the tackles in L.A. They really do.
Yeah, no Gurley today.
So. And although the guru's guru has been wringing his hands at me, it's against the San Francisco defense. He's huge on San Francisco right now. He is. I should buy him a Niners jersey for Christmas, for Christ's sakes.
What do you do best to negate the pass rush is to run at the pass rush. So
up your ass,
let's
exactly.
See what happens today, maybe that's the game plan.
Exactly. Yeah. Now you have your guy who should blow up, and I have my guy who should blow up, and that would be Mr. DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah.
Okay. In a shootout,
he hasn't had that
day.
Yeah, it's coming.
He's had a decent day. His first
coming.
two were decent, but
He's been on par, I think.
he hasn't had his typical 34 to 44 point monster day.
Yeah, it's coming.
And it's coming.
It's coming.
Adam Thielen, I totally agree with you. He's going to pick on the Philadelphia D. The Philadelphia's safeties, Philadelphia's outside corners, very suspect.
Yeah.
Their slot guys are pretty good. Their linebackers are very, very good against tight ends, but no. It's good. Thielen's going to go bananas, especially being at home. And Larry Football. We both love Larry Fitzgerald.
In the slot today against one of the worst cover slot corners, safeties, whoever they throw out there is bad.
Preach.
Yeah.
Preach.
And Murray, again, I keep saying this too. If you look for spots where you know guys are going to have that game and you got to stay with them consistently, you don't, it's short memories.
Right.
He's getting better. I think overall, most of the consensus is that Murray's getting better. I just think he's in that spot today where they're going to put up some points too.
Right. And now let me ask you a question. Who do you think gets the most target share for the Atlanta Falcons? Which receiver?
Today.
No, at all, in general.
Well,
Right
the numbers
now.
would suggest it's still Julio Jones.
Nope. It's Mohamed Sanu.
What do you mean by target share? You mean percentage
Targets.
of balls on his way? I have to look and
Targets.
see. Okay. All right.
Okay. And who do you think has the second highest amount of targets? Still not Junior.
Really?
Still not Julio
Ridley
Jones.
is the second one?
Still not Julio Jones. Nope, not Ridley.
No.
Austin Hooper.
Oh, the tight end. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've got him in. I see. I've got the graphic up here, and I'm setting it up. But yeah, Austin Hooper up against 31st ranked Arizona Cardinals defense against the tight end. You got to go for that. The guy's getting 6, 7, 8 looks a game.
Yeah.
That they can tell.
I will say this though, and it's just his name popped in my head. You mentioned somebody that you may have cut recently in one of the leagues.
Like who?
DK Metcalf.
Yeah, that was like 3 weeks ago.
I believe he's leading the league in red zone.
Yeah, I know, but
He's at seven red zone targets.
Yeah, but I had to cut him for DK Chark.
Who is in a tough matchup today? Who,
Right.
interesting enough, is one of my props today. How'd you know?
Okay, well let me finish my.
I'm just excited about DJ
Okay,
Shark.
well my final two choices. My flex is going to be Nick Chubb against a suspect Seattle defense against the run.
Yeah.
And then the L.A. Rams defense against San Francisco.
Okay.
Yeah, they're at home. They're getting some guys back.
They're going to have to play today.
They got a chip on their shoulder.
I agree with that.
They're not gonna roll over for these young upstart San Francisco fucks.
I agree with that.
Okay, they're not gonna get punched in the mouth today. It's as simple as that.
The Rams, I will say this though, they don't look to be the same team that they've been over the last year plus or so under McVay. But again, I attribute that to the offensive line. They have been terrible. They're ranking Pro Football Focus. I hate to say them again, Pro Football Focus, PFF. 24th this year so far.
Right.
Last year they were 4th overall, I believe.
Right.
Big drop off.
Huge.
Same guys. Something's going on there.
Well, Sue is gone first of all.
Offensive line.
Okay, offensively?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the same guys.
Yeah.
I think aging offensive line. I think
It's a huge drop
two
off.
different guys on the offensive line.
Yeah, it's a huge drop off for 1 year ago.
I think a lack of a tight end because even though they have 3 really good wide receivers, teams are learning how to get those wide receivers blanketed, whether it be Cooper Kupp, whether it be Robert Woods, whether it be who's the other guy?
Robert Woods.
No, I said Robert Woods.
Woods, Kupp.
Brandon Cooks.
Yeah, sorry.
I've only got him on a fantasy roster. But whether it be any of those 3 guys,
They're not the same team with a shadow of the Gurley guy that they've had over the last year or two.
Yeah.
And he's not playing again today, and it's an unrelated injury to what he was
Yeah.
hurt. So, again, you can clearly see that Gurley is not who he is or who he was before the injury last year. I
Yeah.
think they're going to have to identify themselves differently moving forward. Find out
Power
what
running with
sort of
Malcolm
offense,
Brown.
something, because they need to help Goff. His home road splits are crazy. Much better quarterback at home than he is on the road. That's not going to bode well in the playoffs because they're going to have a road playoff
makes him
game.
a big pick today, though.
Well, because they're home again.
In spite of how great in spite of how great the Guru's Guru thinks the San Francisco defense is,
We'll see.
We'll see.
I will say this about the Niners: last time they started 4-0, they went to the Super Bowl, 1990. They beat the Broncos.
Fancy.
29 years ago. Now, I don't buy into that crap 4-0, 29 years. Everything's different. But
29
it
years
is interesting.
ago.
It is interesting. People like to talk about that
It was
stuff.
like 100 years ago.
Pretty much.
All right, so let's get to the props because we got to get out of here, and I got to go look at my injury reports.
Real quick, just a status report on the year so far: 13-7. Last 2 weeks, 2-2, 2-2. Not happy about that, but not losing. So that's
Stupid
not so
Colts.
bad. This week, all props. Okay,
All props.
All props.
All of them.
We're going to start with Joe Mixon today in Baltimore. I think that game again, like I said, stays close, stays competitive.
Yardage?
62.5. We're going over. Joe Mixon over 62.5 yards. That's
Over
one.
62.5 yards.
Yeah.
That's kind of a middling number.
You know what? I've said this before about these prop lines. They usually don't fluctuate too much, and you have to kind of ride the regression train. And Mixon, I guess, to me in this spot is ready to have one of those games. I think he's in a plus spot. So Mixon over the 62.5 yards.
Okay.
Jarvis Landry,
Juice.
big spot at home against Seattle. They're going to have to throw the ball to win. Yeah, I know you like Chubb today, but I think you can throw in that Seattle defense. Over
So they throw to Chubb?
62.5 yards.
62.5 seems to be the
Same
number today.
number, yeah, pretty interesting. So Landry, we're going over 62.5 yards. Now, you mentioned this guy earlier. Everybody's popular. He's happy, and everybody's jumping on DJ Chark.
Love him.
Going under.
Big fan.
Under today. 65.5 receiving
Hope you're
yards.
wrong.
Sorry, but I won't be.
Hope you're wrong. Well, you were wrong about one guy last week. I forget who it was, but you were wrong. You were wrong last week.
I'm
You can be wrong again.
once in a while. Maybe that's the one I'll be wrong on today.
You
but
can
I
be
got it.
wrong again.
McLaren today.
Oh,
Washington.
you're going to pick on the Dolphins.
Well, I'm going under for his 65.5 yards. You do have one
You're
good
going
quarter
under?
left, don't you?
You're going under, yeah?
Under 65.5 yards for McLaurin today. So those are my four real quick.
That's because they're going to put Xavier Howard on him.
That's what I'm hoping for. Mixon and Landry, both over 62.5 yards. DJ Chark, under 65.5 yards. And McLaurin, receiver for the Redskins, under 65.5 yards. So 2 overs, 2 unders today. I'm not really an under guy. Rooting against guys to underperform, but I'm seeing some tough spots for those guys today. Lower scoring games, 2 overs, 2 unders. Boom, done. That's what we have. Good luck, everyone.
I hope you're 3-1.
Good luck on your fantasy weeks today too, and your season leagues, and your home leagues, and your work leagues, and your water cooler discussions. And you can tell everybody how good you are, like I do every time.
Except
I see
for
everybody.
just the tip, the Brooklyn Monsters, who, hi, Frankie, Brooklyn Monsters, I'm facing him in the Screwy Louie Football League.
Okay.
So other than those guys, and I forget who it is I'm playing in the Danny's Dirty Dozen. I'll figure it out. But, okay, well, yeah, good luck to everybody with all that stuff.
Trying to get a quick score here.
Of what? Oh, yeah, before we go.
Yeah, of our game, but I'm struggling mightily.
Well, while he's doing that, I'm going to let you guys know, of course, make sure you check us out on the Gonzo Radio Sports Desk on Facebook, both the fan page and the group page. You can also check out the Guru's Guru.
Oh, boy.
You can't go to the Screwy Louie Football League group page because it's a secret, exclusive, invitation-only group. Also, check us out, Gonzo Radio Sports Desk on the Instagrams. Go to Instagram, search Gonzo Radio Sports Desk. There we are. Follow. I like to post hilarious sports memes and news flashes and videos, and, of course, warn you when we're getting ready to go on the air. You can also go to Twitter, Gonzo Radio Show on Twitter, at Gonzo Radio Show. Go check that out because I post Sports Desk stuff there, and we will start a separate Sports Desk Twitter in the very near future. Also, the Gonzo Radio Network, you've got to go there. That way you can be abreast of everything that goes on in the Gonzo Radio universe, gonzoradionetwork.com. Anything else there, Mr. MLB
27-10.
27-10.
Panthers. And entering the fourth quarter.
Tampa. No.
Panthers.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was going to say that flipped around real quick.
27-10 Panthers entering the fourth quarter.
Oh, okay. Well, we get to go watch the end of that debacle. So on behalf of myself and Damaz, say goodbye to the nice people, Maz.
Bye, nice people.
We will see you guys next week here on the Gonzo Radio Network.
Peace out.
Bye.